Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990s Represent. We're still in our sixth cycle of 1994 with a movie. In this episode, we're talking about Above the Rim. Absolutely have a blast whenever I see this movie. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I didn't see it when it first came out in theaters, but I did rent it in 1995 from like a local like video store or something. And then I think I've seen it a couple more times since then, and then recently rewatched it for this series. It's just a fun, solid mid 90s basketball movie with like kind of like some like street elements. It's basically street basketball. There's some kind of like gang elements in it as well. Um, just a fun movie. So I have some notes here about it, and then we'll get to the plot and all that kind of stuff. Let me just reopen this here. See where we're at. There we go. So Above the Rim was first released March 23rd, 1994. This is Barry Michael Cooper is the writer on this, and I think this is the third part of what people are calling his Harlem trilogy, which also includes New Jack City from 1991, also includes Sugar Hill, and then Above the Rim. Out of these three, I've only seen two out of these three. I have not seen Sugar Hill, but I've seen New Jack City. That's a classic, just Wesley Snipes movie. Something on my kind of short list to do when we get back to 1991. Absolutely love that movie. Wesley Snipes is great in that. Wesley Snipes is also in Sugar Hill. That's one I haven't seen. And then then after that, we have Above the Rim. You have great performances in here from Tupac. Leon, he plays Shepard, kind of like one of the leads. And Wood Harris, who would eventually go on to play Avon Barksdale in The Wire. He's in this as well. The main character of Kyle kind of comes across as a jerk most of the movie. Like, he kind of turns it around toward the end. But he's just disrespectful to his mom. He's disrespectful to his coach. He's disrespectful to Shepard, Leon's character, and so on. And then he kind of like, at one point, his mom slaps him. He basically throws tantrums during games. Like, he gets like a technical foul and then like freaks out. Kind of a ball hog. Very first game of the movie, we see his team lose because he just doesn't want to pass the ball to his teammate that could have gotten like the winning shot. So it's kind of like he kind of grows up as the movie progresses. But yeah, he kind of comes across as a jerk. I think like the only character that really, there are some redeemable characters. I think Shepard probably is the most redeemable character in the movie. He's got a lot of backstory with something that happened in the past, and he's kind of like never been able to move past it. And so on. Bernie Mac is also in this. He plays a homeless guy named Flip. Kind of some of the comedy relief in the movie, as well as I think Marlon Wayans is some of the comic relief. Marlon Wayans more so than Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac has a couple like funny lines, but Bernie Mac is in this. This is apparently also the last film of Tupac's that got released in his lifetime. I know he did another movie called, I think it was called Gang Related, which came out after his passing, and maybe some others. But yeah, Tupac is great in this. Let me actually just bring up the soundtrack, because it's got a pretty good soundtrack here. Let me just bring it up. I should have had this loaded up earlier. But yeah, we will take a look at the soundtrack here. Here we go. So yeah, the soundtrack is just a great hip-hop soundtrack. It's about 77 minutes in length on the CD. The cassette is actually longer, being an hour and a half. But the tracks on this are Anything, the All-Star Remix by SWV. You have Old Time's Sake by Sweet Sable. Part-Time Lover by H-Town. You have Big Pimpin' by the Dog Pound Gangsters. That's Daz and Corrupt. You have Didn't Mean to Turn You On by Second to None. You have Doggy Style by DJ Rogers. I think that is maybe a Snoop Dogg remix. Regulate by Warren G is on this soundtrack. Him and Nate Dogg. Pour Out a Little Liquor by Tupac, or Under Thug Life, but he was in that group as well. We have Gonna Give It To You by Jewel featuring Aaron Hall. We have Afro Puffs by the Lady of Robin Allen, the Lady of Rage, and Snoop Dogg. You have Just So You Know by CFO and Boss Hogg. After that, there is Hoochie's D Love 2 by Paradise. It says I'm Still in Love with You by ALB Surreal. Crack 'em by GFTB. You Bring That Dog Out by Rhythm and Knowledge. Blown Away by Biz Resit. I'm Not Deep Enough by Jewel. And then Dog Pound for Life, which is the Dog Pound Gangsters. And then on the cassette, which actually features 3 extra tracks, you have Pain, which is Tupac and Stretch. You have Me Modi Real by Lord G. And Loyal to the Game by Tupac, Tretch, and Riddler. So yeah, the soundtrack is one of, like, I did a video on this of just great 90s soundtracks, and this would be on that. Like, they don't really make soundtracks like this anymore. This was kind of like Batman Forever is a great example of just an amazing soundtrack. Above the Rim has an amazing soundtrack as well. And that is it for that. Now we're going to get to the plot of the movie. Basically, it's a street basketball movie where our main character is trying to, impress scouts so he can go to Georgetown. And then the other major thing is there is a street ball tournament happening toward the end of the film. And basically, like, them playing in this street ball tournament. The street ball tournament doesn't really have any kind of, like, stakes necessarily. It's not like a school championship game. It's just like a bragging rights kind of thing, I think. But Tupac's character of Birdie is putting together a team. And Birdie, for all intents and purposes, is the villain of the film. Tupac does a great job playing him. And then the main character's name is Kyle. His high school coach is putting a team together as well. And Kyle is kind of conflicted of which team he should be on. So initially he is on the team that his high school coach is putting on, and then eventually joins Birdie's team, but then eventually drops out of Birdie's team to play on the team he was originally playing on. That's kind of the basis of the film. The other major part of the film is Leon's character of Shepard, who has a lot of past guilt over his friend accidentally falling off a roof to his death in the 70s, I think. And he's kind of very introverted, but then kind of comes around throughout the movie, becomes a positive role model for Kyle, as well as basically joins the team, that Kyle's team, at the end of the film. But the film starts off in the 70s, and it's Shepard and his friend. I think it was I forget the character's name. It's not Wacko, but it's Nutso. Yeah, so might as well be right. Anyway, so Shepard and Nutso are playing basketball on this roof, and there's a bet going on of that Nutso can't jump and slap the backboard. So Shepard jumps and slaps it, and then throws some money on the ground, and then Nutso does it. But Nutso takes a running start, jumps, hits the backboard on the bottom right corner of it, and it breaks, and he falls kind of through it essentially, or his hand goes through it, and he flies off the roof, and you just see Shepard leaning over the roof, being like, "Nutso!" And then he kind of wakes up in the in present time, being 1994. Let me see here. I got my notes here for the plot. It goes to our first game of the movie, where it's Kyle's team playing against. I don't know what the team was named. They were just wearing green, but they lost because Kyle's kind of a ball hog. And Birdie is there with. Let me bring the cast up because I forget what the character was named. So yeah, Birdie is Tupac. Wood Harris's character is. Let me just see if I can bring it up. Mota. Mola? Let me see. Mota. That's kind of Birdie's right-hand man, so to speak. So they're at the game, kind of watching players. Kyle's team ends up losing because Kyle just doesn't want to pass. He gets into an argument with some of his teammates in the locker room, and the coach is like, "Hey, I need to see you at 7:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning tomorrow. We got to talk about stuff." And he's basically at one point he's telling Kyle to use his team, and then after that. After that, he gets invited to the club with Birdie, and Birdie basically is trying to recruit Kyle to his street ball team for the street ball tournament, and does so with like fancy shoes, a bunch of money, like some ladies, stuff like that. So trying to get him into basically trying to bribe him to play ball for his team. It cuts to the next day where him and Marlon Wayans' character, I think it's let's see, Marlon Wayans, Bugaloo is his character, and they're playing street ball just in the like a court. Bernie Mac kind of rolls on them and wants to play them, and they kind of bet like a one-shot game kind of thing. And whoever loses, I think, gets the ball like thrown at their back, like at their butt, basically. That never happens, but Bernie Mac loses the game, loses the one-shot game, and they start fighting with him. But Shepard pulls them off of Bernie Mac, and there is history between Flip, who is Bernie Mac's character, and Shepard, because like Shepard's been gone for a while, kind of thing. So he's back. He's a security guard now at the high school that Kyle plays at. And Bernie Mac's character says, "They can't erase what we were, baby," or something like that. And so they know each other. And then Flip kind of leaves. Kyle goes to talk to his coach. His coach is like, "Hey, like, what are you doing talking to the scouting coach? Because there's a scout from Georgetown there." He's like, "You're gonna be ineligible if you do that anymore." And then he's trying to get him to basically just be a team player. And then at this point, this is when Kyle decides to join with Bertie's team because he's angry at his coach. So he's like, "Hey, I'm playing with a different team in the shootout or whatever the tournament's called." You see here, there is a scene where they're at a diner, or Shepard is at a diner. And this lady is trying to one of the waitresses is trying to hit on him, kind of thing. Kyle's mom comes in because Kyle's mom met Shepard kind of the night before the game. And they kind of hit it off, and they start hanging out. There is another game, and this is the game where Kyle really flips out. Like, he's not playing well because he sees Shepard and his mom hanging out, so he's distracted by that. He gets shoved by one of the other players on the other team, and then when Kyle shoves that guy back, he gets a technical foul, and he just kind of loses it. He gets ejected from the game, is throwing a chair around in the locker room, and is just screaming. And then Shepard and his mom show up, and his mom is like, "You owe somebody an apology." He's like, "Screw that." She slaps him, and Shepard just kind of walks out. Kind of the thing with that scene is the mom later said that Shepard shouldn't have just walked out, but also Kyle doesn't like Shepard at this point, and also because he's dating his mom and he's doing all this other stuff, and so I kind of don't blame Shepard for just leaving in that instance. So he flips out. They go to the club, and I think they're basically getting all the gear ready for all their players for Bertie's team. Also, should be noted that Bertie and Shepard are brothers. Shepard comes back to bury their mom, and they have a conversation between Shepard and Bertie at this graveyard. And Bertie is like, "Hey man, I'm all grown up. You can't come back here talking like this." He's like, "I run things now," and that kind of thing. So definitely being antagonistic toward Shepard. What do we got next? But they're at this club, and later, Bernie Mac's character shows up again and kind of talks smack to Bernie. And later in the night, it's one of, I don't know why I like this scene so much, but he's kind of just sleeping because he's homeless, and it's Bertie and Mota. They roll on him, and Bertie says, "Wake him up," and you see Wood Harris's character just kicking his feet, Bernie Mac's feet. He gets up, and you see Mota in frame smoking, and you see Bertie's hand on the right side of the frame, and then you just see Tupac grab Bernie Mac by the head. He's like, "Recognize," and he slashes him with the razor. And he keeps the razor in his mouth. And I knew somebody in high school that actually did that. I don't know why they thought it was cool. It was just kind of that seems incredibly dangerous. But yeah, Bertie pulls the razor out and just slices up Flip. And after that, there is a scene at the club with all of Bertie's crew, Kyle and Bugaloo. And basically, Bugaloo doesn't make the team. Bertie is really disrespectful to him. Kind of just talks trash to him, and him and Kyle leave the room, and Kyle's like, "Hey man, you gotta stand up for yourself. You can't take that from him." And Bugaloo's like, "Yeah, what am I gonna do? Talk smack to him, and then end up like Flip?" And then Kyle doesn't know what happened to him at this point. He's like, "Yeah man, he's like Bernie like slashed him up, and he was like he does the motion where he's like that, and then Kyle is walking trying to find Flip. I don't know if he believes that Flip has actually like been murdered at this point. He's looking for Flip, and he runs into Shepard at like the streetball court. And he's like, nah, he's like Shepard's dead, or like not Shepard, Flip is dead. They play some ball for a second, and because like Kyle's mom tells him, he's like, hey, you need to like make things right with Kyle, like you need to be like a mentor for him or whatever. But yeah, they play a game of ball, and Shepard is like one of the probably the best ball player in the movie. Like he hasn't played ball for a while because of the guilt from his friend falling off the roof, like in like the opening scene. But yeah, he is one of probably, like I said, the best player in the film for like basketball. Also, there's a funny scene where we see, I think it's Bundaloo and Kyle are walking down the street, and they see Shepard and Kyle's mom in this restaurant, and the song that's playing is where it's like oh shit, like that, whatever that song is. And it's just funny because like they're like, why are you hanging out with this guy? Like what's going on here? Let's see what else we got after that. Yeah, so then now it's time for the street ball tournament, and Kyle has a change of heart. He brings all the stuff back to Bernie, all the shoes, the money, whatever it is. He's like, hey, I'm playing on my old team. Like he's like, sorry, man. Like, but like I gotta do this. So he makes the right call, joins his original team, and both Bernie's team and Kyle's team make the finals. So they're playing, and some really cool like just street ball montages going on. And Bernie rolls up to Kyle like between games, and he's like, hey, good luck in the finals. And it like Kyle doesn't like say good luck back. He's like, hey man, that's like rude not to say good luck back. And he's like, I heard like, and then Kyle's coach tells him that he got a letter from Georgetown, so he's got the scholarship to go to Georgetown. But Bernie then knows about this, and he's like, hey, I heard you got that scholarship at Georgetown. And he's like, and he's kind of like going like, he's like, it'd be a shame if they knew about all those gifts I gave you. So basically, he's kind of bribing him into throwing the finals. And for a while, Kyle is playing along with Bernie's plan in the final game. He's like not playing well. He's missing shots, basically trying to essentially throw the game. Kyle gets injured, at least temporarily, in the game. He gets replaced by someone else. And then that other player also then gets injured. And they're on a timeout, and the referee is like, hey, like you got to have another player. You got to have 5 on the court. And then that's when Shepard rolls up, and he's like, hey, put me in. And Bernie is like, nah, man, this is ridiculous. What's going on? And the coach is like, well, he was on my original roster, so he's good to play. The other team basically like there's a lot of issues between Bernie and Shepard because like, you know, past like resentment and things like that between the two of them. So Bernie's like, this is ridiculous, but then they tell the rest of his team, they're like, hey, like go hard on Shepard, like foul him, do whatever you got to do. And for a while, they are just like really kind of roughing Shepard up. He's kind of like getting like just like knocked down. He gets like a cut. He gets like bloodied at one point. But then he gets dialed in, and he brings the game within like a single possession game. Like next basket from either team wins. And Bernie is like, hey, just make sure the ball doesn't go to make sure Shepard doesn't get the ball back. And it's Mota is like on that team as well. He's the one that is basically dribbling. Shepard gets a steal off of him, and then scores the game-winning basket. And Kyle's team and Shepard's team wins the street ball tournament. Bernie, obviously being upset about this, brings a bag out to Mota, and he's like, hey, do what you got to do. And Mota pulls a gun out of the bag and is about to try to shoot Kyle. So he's walking towards Kyle with a gun. Everybody actually like starts like scattering because they see this guy walking with a gun, of course. He fires the shot, but Shepard dives in front of it and takes the shot. Next scene is the police that are at the tournament end up shooting Mota. So Mota gets killed by the police, and Shepard gets like taken into an ambulance, and then it cuts forward. Like there's like a time jump. They didn't specify how long, but it is a college game of Georgetown, who is Kyle is now at Georgetown, and he scores the game-winning shot. And it cuts to his coach watching it, as well as his mom and Shepard. So his mom and Shepard are still together, and that's kind of where the movie ends. It had been a while since I've seen this, but it was a lot of fun rewatching it. It's just like a very good mid '90s sports movie. You got, like I said, you have great performances from Tupac and Leon. Dwayne Martin as Kyle is all right. And then Marlon Wayans. I didn't really care all that much for Marlon Wayans in the movie, but to me the standout roles are Tupac and Leon as Bernie and Shepard. And like it's got a great soundtrack, just a good New York City based street basketball movie with some high school and college stuff tied into it. It's just a fun time. So that is going to do it for this video. We'll be back in a few days doing a video game from 1994 before jumping back into 1995. So that is going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.